Sentinels 3 ways. Let's paint that. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good day, and I hope you have patience to watch 3 big Sentinels from the X-Men Resistance Marvel Zombies Sentinels Strike expansion. Well, that was a mouthful, because we're going to be painting the Sentinels 3 different ways today. We're going to speed paint one, we're going to manually paint one with regular war paints, metallics, regular paints, all sorts of things like that, and we're also going to airbrush one. And then in the end, I want you guys to comment which one you think turned out the best, and I'll also give you which one I think turned out the best, and maybe which one is the fastest way to paint, and which one's the least fastest way to paint. So let's get to the table and start painting some Sentinels. Alright, so let's jump right into this. We have primed these Sentinels with plate mail metal from the Army Painter, so that they're going to have this beautiful metallic shine already ready underneath. And we're going to start off with Sentinel A, aka Nana, with Warpaints from the Army Painter. So we're not going to be using anything specific here, just using their regular Warpaints. And we're starting off with some well, most of it is metallic paints that we're going to be using, even though we have metallics already as a base coat with the primer. Night Scales is one that is almost goop when you paint with it, or when you take it out of the bottle, so you really got to water it down. You really got to thin this sucker. And that's what I did, exactly that, on my wet palette. I put an absolute amount of water with it to really get it to a nice paint consistency. And what's fun is that it actually goes on so well, it almost acts like a speed paint because it's thinned down. And so what it does is it actually kind of highlights the areas already. Like, it'll get into the recesses a bit more and darken it down, but then the super raised edges will stay a little bit more shiny silver from that plate mail. Anyways, so these guys are from the Sentinel Strike expansion, and I think this was a Kickstarter exclusive. I don't even think it's going to come to retail. I was lucky enough to find it at my local store because this guy backs, like, he goes all in for everything CMON pretty much. And so I decided to get these because it's got Professor Xavier as well as a zombie and as a regular hero. They're going to be coming up soon to be on the channel, so keep an eye out for those. By the way, if you're watching this, about 82% of you are not subscribed to this channel. Please hit that subscribe button, okay? Grow this channel. People are saying this channel needs to be up there with some of the best ones, because I'm teaching you guys the truth about painting a miniature. I don't go say it's going to take you 10 minutes and then paint on for 4 hours. No. My miniatures take barely no time. These ones, yes, they took a long time because there's a lot of area to cover. Okay, and there's especially like when it's going to be the blue armor, it's super long because there's a ton of it. And if you want to speed through that, that's okay. I don't mind if you fast forward through my videos, but you need to subscribe, folks. Come on, let's get that subscription number up. I have a huge goal for the future. I want to see this channel really grow. So hit that subscribe button, guys, okay? All right. Zephyr Pink, we're doing the helmet, and then I actually forgot to do a part of his jaw, which I'm going to do with the wrong color after. I will come back and fix that. Technically, it went from the top of the helmet down the side of the ear, or wherever it would be the ear, and then down the jaw line, okay? You would have this Zephyr Pink. You'll see it later on come up while I'm painting other parts. I kind of forgot some of that. And you're going to see I'm going to make a couple errors in this video, and which is fine, because you're going to make errors while you paint, and then you're going to be like, oops, I made an error, I got to paint over this. Using the war paints was a great idea. That's all you have access to, so this is what you could paint all 3 of the Sentinels in. So here I'm using the greedy gold, and this is for the face. And see, I'm doing a jawline here, and I wasn't supposed to with the greedy gold. It was only supposed to be like the faceplate. So anyways, you come back, don't do this part with the greedy gold, just do the faceplate, okay? Alright, here comes the longest part on this mini. Well, yeah, it's pretty much the longest part. It's the blue armor, and I'm using Elven armor from the Army Painter. Their metallic paints, by the way, are amazing, but some of them are very, very thick. So be careful with that. You might want to water it down. This one, it was what I had to water down a bit as well. But I think I watered it down a little too much because it was not covering as well as I wanted to. But that's kind of cool because then it keeps some of the metallic, like the underpainting, popping through a little bit, giving it a little bit of a usage look to it. Like it's been in war, it's been against these zombies, the zombie heroes. Yeah, anyways, and you can use the Sentinel Strike, which is cool. It's an expansion. You can use it either against the zombie heroes, if you're playing the zombie heroes, or if you're playing the heroes. These things don't care. And this particular miniature here, called Nana, I did not notice, but it is written in the lore of the actual instructions here for this one. This was reprogrammed by Spider-Man. That's really cool. And that it was used to protect the children of Sue and... oh, what's his name? Anyways, it's Mr. Fantastic and Sue, her there, the stretchy one. God, I can't remember her name. Anyways, so their children. It was used to protect their children, I guess. I don't know if that's in the comic books, in Marvel Zombies versions or whatever. Like I said, I'm not a big comic book reader, but I love the X-Men. The X-Men were just awesome for me in my childhood when I was growing up watching those cartoons. They were great. The Sentinels were just like massive. They're not as well, yeah, no, they're good to scale, I'd say. You know, I mean, you put a miniature next to these things of one of the X-Men and you'll get a good idea of the size difference in that. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna speed up this video a little bit here, just so you don't have to keep watching me paint some blue armor. You'll get the gist of it. Listen to some music and we'll come back in the next color and I'll keep talking then. Alright, we made it through all that blue metal. Next is Ancient Mummy. This is a unique color from their D&D range when they were doing those. And I'm using this as a base coat for where there's going to be like, kind of like flames, but like where the jets are on these guys, like on their feet, his back, the arms where they shoot their lasers, the hand, not the hands, well yeah, and then the eyes as well. Now this one I'm showing you guys how I'm painting the base because I'm using the exact same color in all three, which is dark stone. And I'm going around all the base with this, everything that's like dirt or rocks or whatever. I'm not going to show you guys all the three other bases. There are some other little things on them to paint, like there's one that has a stop sign and a jerry can and some other stuff. Another one has a postal box. So you can do that yourself. Choose the colors you want. And it's actually kind of funny because whenever I get to painting this tin can here, this big drum here, I use a color that I didn't think was going to do that. Anyways, mythical orange now to just finish off like the laser parts or whatever, the heating parts or whatever, just, you know, to make a little hotter zones or showing a little bit more. I mean, it's not bad. A little dry brush of skeleton bone now on the ground. Again, this is not going to be something I'm going to show you on every single one of these guys. I just wanted to show you what it does on here. And this is where I'm using that jungle green. And I didn't realize that it was so glossy and also very weird to work with. And this thing, I shook it up a lot and I thought it was going to cover better, but it actually did a pretty good job making it look like a canister of like ooze or whatever instead that just like spilled all over it. Maybe it's the anti-life serum or whatever it's called, the zombie serum. Maybe that's what that is. Anyways, it looks cool in the end. Now we're using dark tone on anything else I haven't painted on this miniature. So anything that's still silver is getting a hint of dark tone. And this is going to highlight the areas, and it's also going to darken down a bit that silver because it's very bright. But I'm not going to touch any of the other metallic paints. you'll see what happens when you do put a shade on top of paints later, on metallic paints later on, but that's a little bit of a spoiler alert for one of the other Sentinels. So all in all, this one is going to be finished in a couple seconds here. Using Warpaints, if this is your way, I'm telling you right now, it is a long method. It takes a long time, but it is worth it. It comes out really nice. It's very shiny though, so if you want that look of shininess, you can go ahead and do that. Now I did do a speckle effect with some silver, shining silver, to make it look, you can see that there on the actual Sentinel there, all finished and up, and you can see like there's some specks of silver that are popping up, so as if it's got like some battle damage to it. We're moving on now to Sentinel B, and we're going to be using speed paints. Now you've seen speed paints on top of metallics, but you haven't seen it on top of this size of a miniature. Having the plate matte metal underneath and putting a speed paint. Look at this speed paint. Look at this pink. Okay, I went with the closest one that I thought was the Zephyr pink, which is familiar pink. Look at the shine coming off of that. Okay, it is bright, but when it dries, it dulls down a little bit. You're going to notice that throughout. And I'm trying to get I'm getting the exact same areas with the same paint areas that I did with the war paints, but this time bringing out the speed paints to see if it would be faster. It kind of is, because it's meant to do your highlights and all that, but like I said, I didn't shade the other one. I just shaded the silver areas, and you can see I'm going to do a different technique for shading with speed paints on this one. So anyways, I'm going through the pink here, same areas as I did on the first one. I decided to do the pink first because if I accidentally get somewhere the blue's going to go, well, the blue won't cover it up perfectly. It makes mistakes. You got to come back with some plate matte metal, war paint, and cover that up. That's the other thing you got to be careful with speed paints when you're doing this. If you make a mistake, you will have to cover it up with the original color and then come back over it with the color you want. Whereas in war paints, if you make a mistake, you can simply cover it up with the new color. Like if I hit somewhere with the pink or the blue, I could have covered it up with the color that was near it, just simply going over it, and it would cover it no problem. But this one is a little bit trickier to do that. Now, I had a hard time figuring out which blue I wanted for the long part of this miniature again, and I tested it on a few spots below on the foot with some different blues. I tried, I think it was Magic Blue, I tried High Lord Blue, I believe, and then I came to Cloudburst Blue, which is got a little hint of like a purple color to it. And as you can see, it dries pretty fast, and it becomes, you can already start to see that it's becoming a little bit more matte, less shiny than when you're putting it on. Even the pink, now that it's dried, you can tell that the metallic has dulled a bit down in it. So using the speed paints is awesome. It's kind of it's not necessarily quicker, like I said though. So you're going to want to go through this and be careful what you're painting, because again, if you make a mistake, you got to cover up with the original paints. You got to make sure you have one of those plate matte war paints on hand in case. This is another long part again. We're going to speed it up a little bit here because again, you're going to be watching a lot of blue going on, but watch as it dries and how well it covers, okay? And you'll be able to see for yourself that speed paints over a metallic, especially this huge, is awesome. Okay, even though it's called speed paint, that took a long time to get through that blue. Alright, now we're moving on to Grim Black, and we're going to be doing all those joints just like I did with the night scales. As you can see, I'm going from lighter color to darker color, because with speed paint, sometimes if you make a mistake, you can pass over it with the darker color. Not always, and I would say with the pink and the blue, it wasn't obvious, and I don't think I actually made any mistakes like hitting the other areas, but if it did, whatever. And especially if the pink hit somewhere with this Grim Black, it will cover it perfectly, as well as the blue. It goes actually over it really well. And I believe the Cloudburst blue was not a was maybe a 1.0. I'm not 100% sure. There's the familiar pink is 2.0 and didn't reactivate at all, which is great. And the Grim Black, this is the original 1.0 one. There is a 2.0 version. I have it stored away, but I'm gonna keep using the 1.0 until I'm actually done with that bottle. I'm not going to open up a new bottle just to see if it works the same or reactivates and stuff like that. There is just no point. Anyway, so we're doing all the joints, like I said, on this Sentinel here. These guys are huge. I'm sorry I'm a little off camera there a bit, but I mean, they're so big to paint and hard to stay on focus here on where I'm painting. Trying to though, and I had to use a larger handle for this one. I was having a hard time holding the part there without like trying not to get paint all over myself, because sometimes I would hit the speed paint that was already done. Anyways, again, I want to thank you guys for watching these videos. I hope you're enjoying this Marvel Zombie series. Hit that subscribe button, folks. Like I said before, 82% of you are not subscribed, and I don't understand why. Do you not like my content? Do you not like my videos? Then why are you watching them? Good question, right? It's free. You can subscribe for free. It doesn't cost you anything. Alright, remember when I said I was going to shade with some speed paints? Well, that's what I'm doing right now with Gravelord Gray. Because Gravelord Gray is very, very thin, I find. Not too thin, but it's not going to create a huge blotch of color. Like the blue, you know, that one, you pretty much covered up every area. This one acts like a shade almost. I would call it a shade in a way. And it does a perfect job for all the leftover silver that we have on this giant miniature, or we'd like to call it a bigature. Yeah, copyright? No, I don't know. Trademark? Yeah, anyways. Oh, and Simon, you know, if you're not a sponsor, but you know, if you ever want to sponsor the channel, you can reach out to me. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing some demo stuff once in a while. I don't know if you're ever going to see my videos, or anyone working for Simon out there, you know, pass it on. I wouldn't mind a good big sponsor like that. That'd be freaking awesome. Army Painter, I've reached out to you many times, but you say you don't help out little channels, which is very sad, but I love your paints anyways. You're a great company, but you know, reaching out to the little guys like us maybe make a difference in this world. But anyways, that's for you to, you know, learn from. I'm just putting that out there. The rest of you guys, you can either subscribe. You can also join the channel now for a monthly fee and get some special perks. You can become a patron over on Patreon. I have started the page up with a very basic monthly fee and a very just one time. And I don't know what else to put on that channel over there, but you can go take a look. You can also just send me a tip. All those links are in the description, so go check that out. Alright, Zealot Yellow now, and I love using this for like not fiery effects, but like lasery effects, or like heating effects and all that, because what's cool is that like the darker areas will get orange and the lighter areas will stay yellow, which is really, really cool. Alright, now we're done. Sentinel B. This is how it looks like. Again, I did the little scratch marks on it with the shiny silver paint. You can see the base has been painted there. And we're moving on now to Sentinel C. Yep. Where we're going to be using some air paints from the Army Painter. And guess what? It's the exact same colors as their Warpaints. So Elven Armor to get all the blue first. And I make a huge mistake here with the blue at some point. I completely painted areas that were supposed to be pink. But don't worry, it covers up with the airbrush because it dries so fast, because it goes on so easily. I did have a couple clogging issues. But this airbrush, by the way, it's called a Neo Eco. Got it on Amazon. It is amazing. If you ever do get a little clog, you just like twist the nut a bit here and you get back your paint in no time. It's just sometimes when you're pressing a little too long, you have to keep going in bursts with it instead. But again, look how fast I'm getting through the blue areas with the airbrush. Because one, if you hit some of the spots with the other colors, it kind of does like a glow effect on it. But it's all good because you just come back over it with another air paint on top of it and you'll cover it up, no problem. Some people like to start with the deeper recesses. I actually want to go with the blue first in case. And here's one area where I completely painted blue that's supposed to be pink, with those leg parts there. Like I was like, oh, I'm just painting. I was just into it right now and I was just enjoying my airbrush. If you don't have an airbrush, I would suggest more speed paints, but we'll get to which ones I like more at the end. But right off the bat, you can see how fast this is going, especially on a large miniature. Just to get through all that armor, like it's just splash, splash, splash. You don't have to redip your, look at that. All right, we're getting into the Zephyr pink. See, I told you, it's the exact same colors that they have in their war paints and their air paints. Getting that helmet here, getting the arm plates. And then this is where I was like, exactly at this moment, I was like, whoops, I did those leg plates as well. So look, going right over it as if there's nothing to it. Covers up perfectly well. Because I said air paints dry very quickly. Here I got a little bit of a clog here. I was just fixing it up. And again, just, fix it quickly. Just turn the little nut thingy or whatever it's called. A couple degrees here and there. And then restart painting, no problem. Like, it's not much of an issue, this airbrush. Again, take a look at that. It's a Neo Eco on Amazon. Greedy gold for that face. I got a bit of the pink, but not a big deal. Now we're using the night scales like I used on the joints of the very first one. Night scales again. This one is already liquidy. And then again, though, it was a little bit thicker. I do have to say, this one was a bit thicker, and I was getting a little bit more clogging areas or issues with it. But as soon as I fixed up and pulled back again the needle, we're back on track, no problem there. So that is an issue you can have with airbrushing. You can get little clogs once in a while, but you just fix it up and you can keep going pretty easily. I do need a new needle, I think, though, at some point. I got to keep an eye out for that. Next, what I'm doing here, all right, is a shade. Since I didn't have any kind of shades for airbrush, I used Nuln Oil, and this thing was like water. And at first I was just going to do where I did the silver, but no, I decided to spray the whole thing with it, and you're gonna see what it does afterwards. All right, let's take a look again at Nana here, the very first Sentinel A with war paints and washes. Turns out amazing, very long to paint. Next one is the speed paints on Sentinel B. Amazing job, looks amazing, looks almost identical to the artwork. Less shine to it though, so if you're going for that factor as well. Air paints, great on the long term, because you're doing it quickly, you're getting through it fast. On the smaller areas, it's a little bit harder to get the areas you want. My favorite, speed paints. Love the look of it. For time-wise, though, airbrushing all the way if you want to save a lot of time. And there you have it, folks. The 3 Sentinels from Marvel Zombies are painted and ready for the table. I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all in the next one.